Captain Ray Walker walked through the shiny alien hallway, looking for the medical room. His head still hurt from the last mission. The alien ship was too big, and the signs on the walls were written in strange symbols he couldn't read. This place is like a maze, Ray muttered. He turned a corner and saw a door slightly open. There was a soft blue light coming from inside. He thought it might be the med bay. He stepped inside. The room was warm and filled with strange smells like flowers and metal. Steam floated in the air. There was a long mirror on the wall, and a pile of golden clothes on a chair. He frowned. "This doesn't look like a medical room," he whispered. Then he heard it. A soft voice, singing in a strange language. Before he could leave, a tall figure stepped out from behind a curtain of steam. She had pale silver skin, long dark hair, and glowing blue eyes. She was completely unclothed. Ray's eyes widened in shock. He immediately turned around. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Too late, the alien girl screamed. A high-pitched sound filled with fear and rage. "Guards!" she shouted. "He has seen me," Ray panicked. "No, wait. I didn't know this was your..." But he was cut off by the sound of boots running toward them. The hallway outside lit up with red warning lights. The girl grabbed Ray's arm. Her hands were shaking. "You must listen to me," she said quickly. "If they find you here, like this, they will kill you and me." "What? Why?" Ray asked. "You have seen me unclothed. On my planet, that is a sacred act. It means we are bonded. If we are not officially joined, it is a crime." Ray blinked. "You mean married?" She nodded, eyes wide. "Yes, and if we are not married, then you must die, and so must I." "Okay." "This is insane," Ray said. But the guards were already outside. They shouted something in the alien tongue. Girl squeezed his hand. "Pretend to be my lover, now, or we both die." Ray took a deep breath. "Fine, I'll play along. Just don't let them kill me." The door burst open. 5 alien guards stormed in, their weapons ready. They aimed directly at Ray before they could speak. The girl stood in front of him. "He is my chosen," she shouted. "I have bonded with him willingly. We are joined." The guards paused. They looked at each other. Then one of them lowered his weapon. "You are certain, Lady Vila?" Ray's eyes widened. Vila? So that was her name. And from their reaction, she was important. "I am certain," she said, her voice calm now. "He is mine. This human is my life partner." The guards slowly lowered their weapons and stepped back. "We will inform the elders," the lead guard said. "Prepare for the verification ceremony." They left as quickly as they came. Ray turned to Vela, his heart still racing. "What just happened?" "You are my husband now," she said simply. "At least, that is what they believe. If they find out the truth, we will be executed." Ray sat down. "This day just keeps getting weirder." Vila walked to the chair and picked up her clothes. She wrapped herself in a flowing gold robe and tied her hair back. "I didn't want this," she said. "But you saw me. That makes us bonded by law. I didn't mean to. It was an accident." "Intent does not matter on my world," she replied. "Now you are part of our law, our tradition, our fate." Ray sighed. "So what now?" "We must convince everyone that we are in love," she said. "That we are soul-bound. We must pass the tests. The elders will ask us questions. If we fail, they will know the bond is fake." Ray rubbed his temples. "I'm not an actor. You don't have to be. Just follow my lead. And do not look so nervous. I just found out I'm married to an alien princess. And if I mess up, I die. How do you expect me to relax?" Vila looked at him for a long moment. Her expression softened. "You saved me. By playing along, you saved both of us." Ray looked at her. "Let's just make sure we both stay alive long enough to regret it." Outside, the guards were already preparing the Truth ceremony. Inside, two strangers stood awkwardly close. Bound by mistake. Forced into a lie. But something deeper had just started. Asterisk, the golden palace lights were soft. But Ray's mind was anything but calm. He sat on a wide bench made of smooth black stone, still dressed in his Earth uniform, surrounded by aliens in silver robes. His heart thumped in his chest. Across from him, Vala stood tall and graceful, but her eyes didn't meet his. 1 hour ago, he was just a space captain looking for a bandage. Now he was about to become someone's husband. In front of an alien council, and he still had no idea how he got into this mess. Vila finally spoke. This is the bonding chamber. Once we walk through that door, she said, pointing to the tall crystal gates, the elders will mark our union. Ray looked at her. So, they're really going to believe this? They must, Vila said, or they'll kill us both. She walked toward him, her voice quieter now. You must say nothing unless asked. Look at me with respect. And do not show fear. My people can smell it, Ray frowned. Smell fear? What are they, wolves? Vila almost smiled, but it faded. This is serious, human. Ray stood up. Stop calling me that. My name is Ray. She finally met his eyes. And mine is Vila, not alien girl. A strange silence passed between them, two people from different worlds. Bound by a mistake neither wanted. Suddenly, a loud chime echoed through the room. The crystal gates opened. Time to begin. Vila said. Inside, the bonding hall was quiet, too quiet. 12 elders sat in a half circle, their skin shining like marble, their eyes glowing gold. Each wore a different colored robe. They looked ancient. Powerful. In the center of the room was a glowing pool of water. Vila stepped forward first. Ray followed, trying to walk with purpose, not panic. One elder, the tallest, spoke in a calm, deep voice. Lady Vila, you claim this off-worlder as your chosen. You know the law. I do, she replied. I have seen him, and he has seen me. The bond has been formed. Ray glanced at her. Her voice was steady. Her face was unreadable. The elder turned to Ray. You, human, do you accept the bond? Even without knowing our ways, Ray hesitated. But then he saw the guards behind them, gripping their weapons. He took a breath. Yes, I accept, he said. The elders looked at each other, their expressions still and serious. Then step into the water, the elder said. Vila took his hand. Don't let go, she whispered. They stepped into the pool. The water was warm and glowing. Ray felt a soft energy wrapping around his body. The elder raised a glowing crystal rod. Let the truth bind them. A bright light flashed. For a moment, Ray felt like his mind was open, like someone was reading his thoughts, his feelings, his memories. Then, just as quickly the light faded. It is done, the elder said. The bond is real. Ray blinked in surprise. Wait, what? That's it? Vela turned to him, her eyes serious. This is not a joke, she said. We're now officially bonded. In your words, married. After the ceremony, they were taken to a private room much larger than before. Vela stood by the window, looking at the twin moons of her planet. Ray sat on the edge of a soft silver bed. So, what now? Vela didn't turn around. Now we must act like we've always been in love, Ray chuckled. That's going to be a challenge. I still don't know your favorite food. She looked at him. This is not a romance story. Ray, it's survival. The bond is real in the eyes of the council, but others will try to prove it false. Others like, who? Vela finally turned to him. Her voice was softer now. My family. My enemies. My father's court. She stepped closer. Some will hate that I chose a human. Others will fear what this bond means. If they discover the truth, we die. Ray leaned back. I really picked the wrong door. Vela sat beside him. For the first time she looked unsure. I never wanted this life, she whispered. But now, maybe it's the only way forward. They sat in silence, side by side. Not lovers, not strangers, not just two people, trapped in a lie. That was quickly becoming real. Asterisk. Ray Walker had been shot at, punched by aliens, and thrown into black holes. But nothing was harder than sleeping next to a woman who clearly didn't want him there. The royal bedroom was quiet. Too quiet. Vila lay on the far side of the bed, her back to him, perfectly still. She hadn't said a word in hours. Ray stared at the ceiling. The stars above flickered through a glass dome. He couldn't sleep, not because of the danger outside, but because of the silence between them. Earlier that evening, after the ceremony, Vila had spoken with the elders in private. Ray wasn't allowed to hear the conversation. When she came back, she looked different, pale, distant. "Are you okay?" he had asked. "I'm fine," she had said, her voice cold. "Go rest. We need strength for tomorrow." That was it. No thanks. No smile. No explanation. Something had changed. Now lying there in the dark, Ray felt the weight of 1,000 questions pressing on his chest. Midnight passed. Suddenly, he heard a sound. Soft, sad. Vila was crying. She tried to hide it, but the room was too silent, and her breath too shaky. Ray turned slowly. "Vila?" She didn't answer. "Are you hurt?" he asked gently. Still no reply. But then, in a voice so low he almost missed it, she whispered, "They lied to me." Ray sat up. "Who did?" She wiped her face quickly and turned away again. "Forget it. No, you said something." "Who lied?" "To you, Vila?" She took a long breath. Then finally she sat up too, still facing away from him. "My family, the council, even the elders, this bond, it's more than just a law, it's a warning." Ray frowned. "What do you mean?" She turned to face him, and in the soft moonlight, he saw her eyes were full of fear. "There's something I didn't tell you," she said. "Something about the unclothed law. It was never meant to protect women like me. It was designed to control us." Ray listened closely. "Hundreds of years ago," she continued, "our ancestors believed that being seen in our most vulnerable form created a spiritual connection, something sacred. But that belief was twisted. The law became a weapon. Against who?" Ray asked. "Against women of power. Against anyone who tried to choose their own path." She stood now, pacing slowly. When someone powerful wanted to silence a royal woman, they sent a man into her chamber. By law, she had to marry him or die. Ray's eyes widened. "So you think they set us up?" She paused. "No, I think I was supposed to die, but you ruined their plan." Ray stood beside her. "Then why play along?" "Because I saw something in you," she said. "Not love, not fate, but a chance, a way out." Her voice cracked. "They wanted me to break, to accept silence. But now, I have a husband no one expected. A wild card." Ray nodded slowly. "And they don't like surprises." "No," she whispered. "They hate them." Suddenly, a sharp knock hit the door. Vila froze. Ray reached for a small metal rod near the bed. The only thing that looked like a weapon. The door opened. An alien servant stepped in with a silver tray. "Midnight drink for the bonded ones," he said. Vila gave a polite nod. "Thank you." Ray watched the servant closely as he placed 2 glowing cups on the table, then bowed and left. As soon as he was gone, Vila rushed forward and picked up the cups. She sniffed the liquid. Then, without a word, she poured both drinks down the sink. Ray stared. "Was it poisoned?" "Maybe," she said calmly. "Or maybe it was just warm milk. I'm not willing to find out." Ray let out a low whistle. "You really don't trust anyone, do you?" Vila looked at him. "Do you?" He shrugged. "I barely trust myself at this point." They both smiled. Just a little. Then Vila sat down again, brushing her hair back. "I don't want you to die because of me, Ray." "And I didn't plan on getting married to a royal alien," he replied. But here we are, she laughed softly. A real laugh. For the first time, Ray smiled. So, what's next? Vila looked out the window. The testing. Tomorrow we face the elders again. But this time, they ask questions about us, our bond, our story. She turned to him. If they see even one crack in our story, they'll know the truth. Ray folded his arms. Then we better make our lies sound like the truth. She gave a small nod. Let's start with this. What's your favorite food? He grinned. Pizza. She blinked. What's pizza? Ray laughed. Oh girl, you're missing out. The palace was asleep. But death was already awake. Somewhere in the shadows of the west wing, a figure moved without sound. Wrapped in dark cloth, face covered, feet bare. A blade, thin as a whisper, rested in their hand, poisoned and meant for a silent kill. Tonight, the human would die. And if the princess got in the way, so be it. Ray didn't know why he was. Awake. His eyes snapped open in the middle of the night, as if something had pulled him from sleep. No sound. No dream. Just a feeling. He glanced to his left. Vila was still asleep, breathing slow and soft. Her silver robe glowed faintly under the pale moonlight. Ray sat up slowly. The room was too quiet, not peaceful, empty, like the silence before. A storm. Then he heard it. A soft creak. Floorboard. Near the door. His eyes locked on the shadow near the entrance. Something had moved. Someone was inside. Ray's heart started pounding. He didn't speak, didn't shout. He slid silently off the bed and picked up the heavy metal sculpture from the shelf. It was smooth and cold in his hands. The shadow crept closer to the bed. The blade glinted in the moonlight. Ray waited one more second. Then he swung the metal piece hard into the dark figure's head. Cracked. The assassin dropped with a heavy thud. Vila shot up from the bed, gasping. What? Ray pulled off the cloth mask. Vila stared. That's my cousin, she whispered. The guards came quickly. Too quickly. Ray noticed how they didn't look surprised. No one shouted. No one ran. They moved like people who already knew something had gone wrong. An intruder, one guard said, picking up the unconscious body. A thief, maybe. Vila stood beside Ray, her voice cold. That's not a thief. That's Lord Zaven, my blood cousin. The guards didn't respond. They just nodded and dragged the body away. Ray stepped forward. You're not even going to ask why he was trying to kill your princes. The lead guard gave a short bow. We will report to the high table. Then they were gone. The door closed. Silence returned. Vila turned to Ray. Her voice trembled. They're not going to report anything. Ray sat down slowly. That wasn't just a warning, was it? No, she said. That was a message. They want me to know I'm not safe, not even in my own room. Later, in the hidden chamber behind her bedroom, a place Ray didn't even know existed, Vila showed him something. Old books, maps, family records, and a locked box made of dark stone. I didn't believe the stories, she said. I thought the danger was politics, old grudges, jealous rivals. She opened the box. Inside was a data crystal, glowing blue. Ancient, but it's deeper than that, she whispered. There's something hidden in our bloodline. Something my father has tried to erase. Ray frowned. Like what? I don't know yet, she admitted. But I think they fear what I might discover. And now that you're part of me, they fear you too. Ray leaned against the wall, thinking. Someone sent a killer into our room, he said. That means one thing. They're not waiting for this marriage to fail. They want to end it, fast. Vila nodded. And next time, we might not be so lucky. Back in the bedroom, Ray checked the locks. Placed chairs under the handles. Not that it would help if someone really wanted in. Vila sat quietly on the edge of the bed. After a while, she spoke. You didn't have to protect me. You could have. Run, Ray looked at her. Run where? I don't even know how to work your doors, she laughed softly. The sound was tired, but real. I owe you again, she said. Ray sat beside her. We're bonded, remember? I protect you. You protect me. That's how fake marriages work, she glanced at him. Maybe it's not so fake anymore, Ray smiled. Let's just survive the week before we talk about feelings. That night, Vila didn't sleep far from him. And outside the room, too. New guards were posted. But Ray noticed they were no royal symbols. Vela had chosen them personally. She was done trusting others, and now, the bond between them, once a lie, was starting to feel dangerously real. Asterisk, asterisk. Asterisk, asterisk. It started with a blood test. Simple, routine. Just part of the royal bonding. Checkup. Ray didn't even flinch when the alien nurse pricked his arm with a small glowing needle. He'd faced laser fire and black hole storms. A little poke. Number. Big deal. At least, that's what he thought. But 20 minutes later, the palace alarms began to scream, and that's when everything changed. Ray and Vila were just finishing breakfast, some kind of purple fruit and crispy blue bread, when two royal the guards barged into their room. Come with us, one said. Now. Ray stood, confused. What's going on? The doctors. They found something. Something in your blood. Vila froze. Her eyes locked on Ray. What did you find in him? The guards didn't answer. They simply marched them both down the hall. The royal lab was cold, glowing white, and filled with strange machines. A tall alien in a shimmering white coat stood waiting. His name was Dr. Ellen. He didn't bow. He didn't smile. He just stared at Ray like he was a ghost. You are not what you seem, the doctor said softly. Ray raised an eyebrow. Thanks? I get that a lot. The doctor held up a glowing chart. You're human. That's true. But your DNA carries a rare marker, one only found in the bloodlines of the original rulers of this planet. Vila stepped forward. That's not possible. He's from Earth. His people don't share our blood. That's what we believed, the doctor said. Until now. He tapped the screen again. Strange alien symbols spun in a circle. This marker. It hasn't been seen in over 1,000 years. It belonged to the first highborn, the Starbinders. The ones who shaped our world from nothing, Ray blinked. Wait. Are you saying I'm some kind of alien royalty? The doctor nodded slowly. Not just royalty, a missing branch. A forgotten piece of prophecy. Ray sat down, trying to make sense of it. I was born in New Texas. My mom was a teacher. My dad fixed mining drones. There's no way I'm part alien. Vila was pacing now, her mind racing. Unless your people came from here, a long time ago, and forgot. Maybe your ancestors left during the starfall, when the great ships disappeared. Ray looked at her. You're saying I'm some kind of lost heir? The doctor answered instead. We're saying your bond with Lady Vela is more than legal. It's destined. Vila turned toward him. This is why they want us dead. It's not just about shame. It's about fear. Ray stood slowly. They're afraid of what we might become together. Yes, she whispered. Because now they can't control me, or you. Later that evening, the palace felt colder than before. Ray and Vela sat in their room, both quiet, both thinking. He looked at her. You've always been a target. But now I am too, she nodded. They won't stop. Ray leaned forward. What happens if this DNA story gets out? Some will want to follow you, she said. Others will want to erase you. Forever. Ray sighed. I didn't ask for this. I didn't either, she said. But maybe we're the answer to each other's problem. He looked at her. How? You gave me a reason to survive, she said. And I gave you a place where you matter. They sat in silence, and in that silence, something began to form, something deeper than fear. A bond not made by accident. But by fate, just before midnight, a message appeared on their private HOLO- screen. It was from an unknown source. Text. Only. No name. No voice. Just a line of words. He carries the blood of the makers. Do not let him live past sunrise. Vela's face went pale. Ray stood up, fists clenched. They know. No, she whispered. Everyone knows. She turned to him. Tomorrow we disappear. Ray nodded. Together. Asterisk, the invitations were written in silver ink. Royal stamps. Formal language. Smiling servants delivering them as if nothing was wrong. To celebrate the union of Lady Vela and her chosen, Captain Ray Walker, a feast shall be held in the Hall of Moons. Vela read the words twice. They're calling it a celebration. She said, but this feels like a trap. Ray leaned on the balcony, staring at the city lights below. That's because it is. Still they went. They had to. Saying no would raise suspicion. Running would mark them as traitors. And if they wanted to disappear tomorrow, they had to survive tonight. Vela wore a long black robe embroidered with starlight threads, royal, powerful. Unafraid. Ray wore a formal jacket from her world-tight collar, silver trim, and a hidden energy blade tucked beneath his sleeve. They walked side by side through the golden halls. Heads turned, eyes followed. Some whispered. Others bowed. But no one smiled. The Hall of Moons glowed with 1,000 hanging lights. Tall windows showed the twin moons rising together in perfect alignment, a rare symbol of peace and power. A long table was set at the center. Exotic food lined the crystal plates, steaming blue meat, golden rice, fruit that sparkled like diamonds. Ray stared at the dish in front of him. He had no idea what it was, or what it would do to him. Vela sat beside him, her back straight. Her father, Lord Veros, sat across the table, his face calm, his hands folded, his smile thin and sharp. I'm glad you accepted my invitation, Veros said. We're honored. Vela replied smoothly. Of course, the Lord said, raising his cup. A moment like this deserves celebration. Everyone lifted their glasses. Ray pretended to take a sip. He noticed something. Every plate on the table held the same food except theirs. Their dishes looked different, slightly darker, slightly smaller. Ray leaned toward Vela, whispered, Does your fruit normally glow green? She blinked, then smiled politely at the table, picking up her fork. With her other hand, she slid a silver ring off her finger and dropped it into the wine. The ring sizzled. A dark cloud rose from the glass. Poison. Ray whispered, They tried to kill us. Vela nodded slightly. They're doing it with a smile. They both stood slowly. Ray smiled at the guests. Thank you for the food. Unfortunately, I just remembered, I'm allergic to murder. Gasps, shouts, movement. Guards stepped forward. Lord Veros stood calmly. Leaving so soon, daughter? I had the kitchen prepare your favorite. You forgot I no longer trust your kitchen, she said coldly. Ray placed his hand on the hidden blade at his wrist. We're not running. We're just not dying tonight. Suddenly, the main doors burst open. It wasn't more guards. It was a young servant. Pale, panting, eyes wide with terror. Apologies, my lord, the servant shouted, holding up a data crystal. The message, it was intercepted. Someone leaked it. Vela grabbed the crystal. Words flashed across the screen. Not a warning this time. Proof. A recording of her father's private orders. A voice saying clearly, Kill the human. Make it look like an accident. The girl can scream later. The hall fell silent. All eyes turned to Lord Veros, for the first time. His smile cracked. Vela's voice was ice. You tried to kill my bonded, and now the whole council knows. Veros stepped forward. You are still my daughter. This world belongs to our blood. No, she said. It belongs to truth, and you just lost yours. Guards turned. Some drew weapons. But not all that. Half the room stood still, watching, waiting. Then one noble placed his hand on his chest and bowed to Vila. Then another. Ray watched it unfold. Power shifting right before his eyes. Looks like they're picking sides, he whispered. Vila nodded. And tomorrow there will be war. That night, Ray and Vila didn't sleep. They packed weapons, clothes, maps, the data crystal. By sunrise, they would vanish from the palace, but now they knew the truth. They weren't just running from danger. They were running with a secret that could change two worlds. The sky burned behind them. A royal airship exploded over the city, sending smoke trails into the morning light. Sirens wailed in every direction. Panic spread through the streets like wildfire. Ray and Vela stood on the rooftop of the observatory, wind rushing past their faces. They had escaped the palace, but there was no going back. The empire was falling apart, and they were the spark. Just 12 hours earlier, they had been honored guests at a royal feast. Now they were fugitives, rebels, symbols of a new truth. Ray checked the stolen skimmers. Power core. 3 hours of flight. After that, we're falling out of the sky. Vila nodded, staring at the rising suns. It's enough. If we reach the shadow range, no one will follow. Ray looked at her. You sure about this? I'm sure we can't stay here, she said. Not after what we exposed. She pulled out the data crystal, the proof. Her father's betrayal. The lies about Ray's DNA. The forgotten bloodline. If this reaches the outer colonies, she said, everything changes. Ray glanced down at the city. Troops were already moving. Search ships in the air. People in panic, but others cheering, marching, holding symbols of the old. Star-dash binders. They weren't just running anymore. They were leading something new. The skimmer lifted off with a deep hum. Wind pushed against their faces as they soared. Above the palace towers, past the great dome of the council hall, now cracked and burning. Ray piloted through tight airspace, dodging patrols. I didn't think being married would involve this much flying and shooting, he said. Vila smiled faintly. I didn't think being married would involve a human with bad hair and worse jokes. Rude, Ray said, but fair. 2 hours later, they landed in a cave near the mountain cliffs. Safe for now. Ray started a small fire while Vila sat beside him, arms around her knees. The silence between them felt different now. Not heavy. Not cold. Just real. Ray broke the silence. You never answered my question. Willa turned. Which one? He looked at her carefully. Do you want to stay married? She didn't laugh. She didn't look away. She leaned forward, her voice soft. You saw me when I was powerless. You stood beside me when I was hated. You fought beside me when everyone else turned away. She reached out and took his hand. This bond. It started as a lie, but it became something real. Ray smiled, just a little. So, that's a yes? Vila laughed quietly. Yes, but don't get too comfortable. I'm still royalty. Ray leaned back. And I'm still human. We'll argue a lot. We'll survive it, she said. Together they looked up at the night sky. Twin moons. Stars above. And below. A broken empire starting to shift. They had no palace, no army, no throne. Just truth. And each other. And that was enough to start a revolution.